So I'll just say a few words of introduction. This reading, it's not so clear why we have this reading on Rosh Hashanah. There's lots of things going on here. It begins with the phrase, V'Adonai pakad et Sarah, and Adonai, and God took note or remembered Sarah, remembered Sarah's desire for a child, and so that is some kind of connection to Rosh Hashanah. Maybe God is remembering us. We want God to remember us, our desires, our hopes. But the reading goes on with all kinds of drama. There's conflict in the family, and there's another kid there who's vying for the birthright, and Abraham is caught in the middle as Sarah and Hagar are sort of in tension, and it goes on and on. There's lots of things going on here, but it isn't so clear why we're reading this on Rosh Hashanah. I think that the easiest way to understand the placement of this is actually in response to the reading tomorrow. The reading tomorrow is the famous story of the binding of Isaac, the story of God asking Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac, and that story is powerful and terrifying and awful and complicated, and has consumed the Jewish imagination for thousands of years. So it makes sense that that central reading is on the second day, and I think once that story has been placed on the second day, this opening to Isaac's life comes as a kind of counterweight to the binding of Isaac, as if to say this is not the only Isaac that there ever was. This story of Isaac's self-sacrifice, forced self-sacrifice, becomes so central to the identity of Isaac in our tradition that it's almost like that's all he was an offering. And I think this reading today begins to flesh out the picture of Isaac's life, his birth, his brother, his father and mother, and the tension in their family, and to give us a sense that there was a lot in Isaac's life, and a lot of that was tense. It's not just that one moment. And I think I can get fixated in one moment in our lives that comes to define everything. I think about my parents' divorce, and it becomes so definitional to my whole life story. But there's so much more. There's so many more relationships. There's so much more going on in my life, and I think that's true for all of us. And this reading is a way of broadening the picture, of expanding the sense of all of the things that we can take into account today. I'm sure many of you are thinking about one thing. One thing is really weighing heavy on your heart today, and that's important, and this space is for that. But it's also a space where you can think about the beginning of your life and the middle of your life and all of the events and the journey and all the relationships you've had. And this Torah reading allows us to do that.